Hello, and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Amphibia, which we'll be talking about today. I'm your host, Alex Bonilla, and today I'm joined by Michelle Andrew.
Hello.
Ali Martin.
Hi.
And Steve Zeck.
Yo!
Today we are getting back in the Amphibia saddle. We're here to talk Season 2, the first 11 episodes that have come out, up to Marcy at the Gates, which was released the day that we are recording this, August 15th, 2020. If you want to find our previous discussions on Amphibia, we've talked to Season 1 already on this podcast. You can find that at overlyanimated.com. You can subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app by searching for Overly Animated. And you can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. But yeah, we're here. The weekly episodes of Amphibia have been blessed upon us for the past couple of months. And we're here to catch up on how we're feeling about the new season, especially with the most recent episode, Marcy at the Gates, which I'm sure we'll be talking specifically about a bit in this podcast. But we'll begin with a bit of general thoughts about how we're feeling about Amphibia at this point in the season. Let's go to you, Michelle, first, since I know you've been eager to talk about Amphibia on the podcast for a while. How are you feeling about the season so far?
I'm feeling really good. I feel like we've definitely gotten a lot more at this point in the season than we were at last season, which is understandable. But I also feel like the structure of this is very much in line with like a Steven universe, where you can go like 6 episodes without touching on any plot, and then suddenly someone brings up like, oh yeah, remember that friend I had, Marcy? Yeah, I still wonder about her. Surprise, we're gonna actually talk about her in this episode. Which, like, I always find that structure really funny. So like I'm on board with it. I'm willing to wait for the good stuff. I was very hyped to see Sasha and Grime again. General Yuan or Yunin. She said her name so many times. I really should know it by now.
Come on, don't make us pull out the full monologue here.
I love her so much, and I'm so excited for her to be a reoccurring character. Marcy was such a joy. Like, I know we're going to talk a lot about her. Like, for not knowing literally anything about her in season 1, I feel like they did a really good job with that episode, especially just like introducing her character and seeing how she's evolved, but is still like very much herself at the same time. She still has like her Marcy quirks, even though she's grown a lot being on her own. I mean, I honestly, the thing I was most shook about was just like these crossovers. Like, I did not see Wax Museum coming in a million years. Like, again, it's like, of all the shows to blend Gravity Falls with, you chose the frog one. But maybe that's just the magic and ingeniousness of it, because it works so well with this alternative universe of just, like, the curator and frogs. I love that it's just, like, called Frog Series. It's so good. And then, like, we got Crumpet, which, like, I, like, don't even understand why Crumpet's here, but I'll take him. Like, I'm still pretty convinced that he is a puppet, even in universe, because we never see his legs, and the way he flaps his arms around just feel like a puppet to me. So I feel like Crumpet is just like his, I don't know, his alternative ego. The way Wally has an alternative ego, like so does Kermit, apparently. So, like, in general, I feel like this season feels very much like first season, but just kind of amplified in a lot of ways. The structure feels very similar, but we're definitely getting into a lot more plot stuff a lot more early on. I mean, we're already at, I presume, the biggest city in the entire world of Amphibia at this point, and we're not really even halfway through yet. So I feel like that's pretty intentional. And I'm sure we'll get into that more later. In general, like, pretty hyped, though. I'm having a really good time with these frogs this season.
Yeah, you definitely touched on a lot of different elements that we're going to talk about. I'm really glad you snuck Crumpet in your initial thoughts. So that stuck with you so much you needed to get that out of the way early. We'll probably find time to talk about him. Ali, let's go to you next. What's your general feelings on the season so far?
Pretty much in the same vein as what Michelle was talking about in terms of it being like season 1, but kind of amplified also, but also it feels kind of more fast paced, but not in a way that feels rushed, because obviously they're going on a journey. And in season 1, they were like in the town of, is it called Wordwood? I don't want to mess that up.
Wordwood.
But yeah, I mean, I've loved where it's going so far. I initially started watching the show because I heard that a person of color was the main character, so that's like what really got me invested. But I've just been loving the world building and also like just the characters around, the humor. Like, there's a lot of really underrated jokes in this show, and just like a lot of Disney shows recently in general. I don't know how to feel about the Wax Museum, but it was a trip and a half. Sasha and Grime are like the two I really want to see. So that episode might have been my favorite out of the bunch that we got until today's episode with Marcy, because she's just perfect. Love Hop Pop as usual.
Yes.
Polly has been getting a little better. I like her a lot. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about we're going to try to get through all the episodes specifically, but I really like the gags, like Michelle was talking about too. What the heck was it? Crumpet? It's
Crumpet.
really good. And that's just the whole, that like town and the family with like the fancy pants stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling really good about it, but I'm really worried after the episode we got today with that ending, but it only makes the hype more intense. So I'm excited to see what's coming.
Okay, nice. Steve, let's go to you now. How are you feeling about the season overall?
Ooh, I'm loving it so far. When I found out this season was going to start out like a road trip, it reminded me very much of Tangled season 2, with same direction, going a road trip. Well, opposed to that took the whole season. This is over already. We're at our destination, so I give the show credit for that. Of course, in Tangled, at the end of the road trip, someone betrayed everyone. So will that happen here?
Spoilers for Tangled, Steve. I'm not caught up.
I'm looking at you, Sprig. I'm looking at you.
You think he's gonna betray them, Steve?
I'm just joking. You made me lose my train of thought. It's great. I really was thinking back. I think the Sasha Grimes episode would probably be my favorite as well. I'm really taking it back directions those characters took, because it reminds me so much of Zuko and Iroh in season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And like, they sort of like, now they're like the outcast from the bad guys, so they sort of have to do their own thing. And though I think in a way, Sasha, she's sort of a mix of Zuko and Azula in a way, because Azula sort of kind of breaking point when like her friend stood up to her, and I think that's Sasha going through a similar thing because Anne stood up to her. So she's kind of a great little bridge between those two characters. That's kind of interesting. Of course, I love Crumpet. Oh my God, Crumpet!
We're 3 for 3 on Crumpet mentions. Come on.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, and Marcy. I when I first heard her, I was just like Sprig. I didn't trust her when I first, like, for the beginning, until we met her, because now she's adorable. I know she's good, but at the beginning, like the whole series, I'm thinking maybe she's not human. Maybe there's some twist there, but I'm glad I'm wrong there. So many thoughts here. Oh, and I think it's only fitting that we come back here together to do this show, because this is sort of the it's the OKKO of Disney Channel right now, in terms of it's sort of under the radar, the sort of the standing in the weeds and shadows of other shows like Owl House or like DuckTales in season 1. It's perfect that we do it. Oh, one last thing, I do have some bad news. My friend wanted to come on with this podcast. He couldn't make it, but he left a pre-recorded message, and I have it for you right now.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Okay.
Alex, be hype. Come on.
Hello, everybody. Over here. Kermit the Frog here. Sorry I couldn't make it here, but as the authority of Amphibia, of all things frogs at Disney, I have approval here. And if everyone's listening to the show, it means this podcast has met my approval. And I love you guys doing a great job here. All for the Lumity. Go Team Lumity.
Okay.
So thank you.
I'm cutting this off. I'm cutting this off.
On the Amphibia pod. I love it.
The impression was good for like the first 2 seconds. It kind of derailed after that. But.
Well, that's why I was recording. I want to get out of the way.
Steve, I want you to personally thank Kermit for leaving us a recorded message. And I love that this is canon, that Kermit stands Lumity also.
Yes.
Kermit said queer rights for Lumity.
Stay tuned for the Owl House podcast, which will probably come out later today after you listen to this. Lots of things to get to. I'll briefly mention I am loving Amphibia season 2. I agree with Ali that it feels faster paced, and I think that's a large part due to the change in format to road trip versus us being staying in Wardwood the whole time. We're like seeing new settings every episode. But at the same time keeping the focus of Anne and the planters. So like I'm liking the shift that we've got going on here, and of course we get to visit the other humans around, and that's like the big hook going on story wise. So the fact that we're here with Marcy like was just really exciting, and I think that's where we'll start first with her, because she's been a much hyped part of the show lore. We've been thinking about when she's gonna show up, and she finally does here. We finally get our first taste of full on Marcy. She's a bit of a klutz, but like just I'll say the reunion between Marcy and Anne melted my heart very much. I was very happy to see tears and hugs, and it was relieving, especially considering like how Sasha and Anne happened. So like I'm just really happy that we're at least starting on a good foot here. Ali, what's your reactions to Marcy and this episode? Were you excited to get to see her?
Oh, very much. But I was also I might be remembering this wrong. Did we get like a cryptic sort of like not flashback, but like scene of her or like where she might be in season 1? I feel like there was like a really like I don't know.
I feel like we've only we had only seen the photo up to this point. Like I think
okay, never mind.
We hadn't seen Marcy in Amphibia.
They mentioned her when they were in like the thrift store or something, right, but I don't know if we didn't know what her personality was going to be like up to this point for sure.
So in that sense, I was definitely skeptical, but I'm really glad that we finally got to her now and not like kind of at the end of the season. Well, Sasha didn't even really come in at the end of the first season, but it was really towards the end. So I'm kind of glad that at least we're going with like more exposition at the beginning. But again, it ties in because this is the second season. It makes more sense to do that now. She's great. I love that she plays D&D and that she is a video game nerd and she plays, what is it, JRPGs?
We literally name check JRPGs. There's like some character class discussion going on.
Them with her, so I'm waiting for her to share them with Sprig because he'd definitely be into it.
Oh. She is just adorable.
Yeah, she's the best. I also really like that she's also not white. I'm sorry to be that person. I love that there's Sasha, and I love that she's complicated, but I also love that the two other girls are people of color, and it's fantastic. Good job, Disney.
Yeah, that's a fair thing to bring up. Yeah, and Michelle, your Marcy thoughts. This came out today, so they're fresh. How are you feeling?
I mean, I agree with Ali that I was honestly a little skeptical with like Sprig, just because like. I don't know. I guess Sasha really did do a number on all of our expectations for what the two of their friends. Yeah, we're all a little traumatized. I mean, we knew literally nothing about Marcy. So if Anne's other friend is such an extreme, like it would make sense that Marcy is kind of in that vein. But Marcy's like this beautiful blend of being like super smart and really good at like the research and like maybe science experimental side. Of learning things, but also like super oblivious to very obvious things, which honestly gives me a little bit of Entrapta vibes, but like a little toned down from that. And I really like that because like as much as I liked Entrapta, it made me feel bad whenever anyone would be really mad at her for being like so invested in this one thing she cares about and being like, oh, you're like, you know, like. And Marcy's like, no one's really mad at Marcy. I mean, Anne has her own thing where she's so used to watching after Marcy that she's the one that has to kind of like step back and realize that her friend being alone has allowed her to kind of grow and be more independent, and she's risen to that challenge, and she's really like kind of in a better place for it. And that's like all on Anne. Like Marcy herself has been doing fine on her own, and I really like that. That's more like the takeaway than like, oh, Marcy should just stop being so oblivious. Like, not, she's figured out a way to make this work, and she's like perfectly alive and happy, and she's actually really thriving in this new city. So I think that aspect of her was really nice to see too.
I love that she's an archer. I forgot to mention that. That's my favorite.
Well, look, her
Bursting
outfit.
after that crossbow.
Yeah, her outfit alone, like from the trailer, it was like, oh yeah, like it's somebody cool.
Yeah. And then the gags with the cape getting caught on fire were just, I kept laughing every time. Like the first time I was like, yeah, and then every time it happened, I laughed harder.
The last time it's like, there really wasn't even a fire that time. That's when I like died. It was so
It's
fun.
great.
I also briefly want to comment on like the dynamic between Anne and Marcy, with in terms of like Anne like feeling protective towards Marcy. I mean, I feel like a more angsty show might have like stretched that out for a couple episodes, make us worried that there's gonna be like some kind of rifts or like resentments from Marcy. But like it's resolved in this episode, and Anne is like very sweet about it. Like, no, I just don't want to lose a friend again. It's like it killed me how sincere it was. But like I also appreciate for my future health that I don't have to worry about this stretching into multiple episodes. I could just see them be happy together.
Oh, famous last words. Don't hold your breath.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, any extra Marcy thoughts you want to throw in here?
No. I just love Marcy, man. She's adorable, like I said. And she's definitely not what I pictured either. Especially when I looked at her design, I thought she would be a little more, little more serious, especially given her style. But she's awesome and great. I do think though next week I think we're going to get a new opening next week, at least a tweak on a new opening, because the part where you see Anne and Sasha having that fight, and you see in the background Marcy, her back's to the camera. I think now that she's appeared, they're going to tweak that a bit, and she's going to be facing the camera doing that part in the opening. So, because that's what anime does all the time.
Oh no!
Wow. It's certainly possible. I do it. We haven't actually talked about the new intro on like an Amphibia dedicated podcast. Mm-hmm. The Sasha and Spin sword fight is still like the most. Yeah. Like we've watched it for like 4 weeks now. It's still such a good thing. But anyways, go on, Steve.
And I'm bummed though. Apparently it's not canon. It's just like some dream or something. Although it did happen in season 1, but I thought we were going to have another one in season 2. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, hype, and it looked like it's not going to happen. But
maybe not that particular fight.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
It's symbolic of their
I do think
energy.
It's interesting that the 3 girls, they each sort of have taken in by the different species, and taken in by the frogs, Sasha the toads, and Marcy the Newtopians. So I kind of hopefully.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And you know what I thought going in, though, perhaps, and though the ending really proves it wrong, that Anne is important to the king, I thought maybe what we're going for was that Marcy was still the chosen one, and Anne just happened to be there when she got sucked into this world. I thought that would have been an extra clever little twist, is the main character is just a buddy of the chosen one.
We can begin getting into theories stuff because the end of this episode is well, actually before we like dive, I just want to with Marcy and Anne, because this is going to bother me if I don't mention it. Does anybody feel shipping feels here? Is it just me?
Oh,
yeah.
Alex!
I'm just.
I want to so bad.
They have like the best bond. I mean, Anne and Sasha would have to. There's so much work there before they could get to a good place.
Yeah, like so Shan is good if you want the angst, right? But like Marcy and Anne is good because I just like sweet things.
Have you considered OT3? Because I always do.
I mean that's always the fallback, isn't it? It's like, why not get them all together?
Perfect option.
Yes, true galaxy.
I will say, when they're like sitting at the fountain at the end and just kind of being like, yeah, I don't know how to get home either, and Sasha's not here to tell us what to do, we can be our own people, and they kind of hype each other up. That was genuinely so sweet and moving, and like it really got to my heart in a big way.
It's very telling that like Marcy wasn't even surprised about the fight that they had. Like she was like, "Oh, was it
Right?
bad?" Not even like, "What you guys?"
That's how she acts. Like it's like she knew that something like
yeah,
that was
she's like, "Oh yeah, this is a regular thing. That's just how Sasha be."
And I'm surprised though, Marcy. At least I'm happy though. She at least wants to go home too. I thought the fact that she found so much development in this world that she like,
she would want to
she'd
stay.
be like, yeah. I'm pretty sure Sasha wants to stay but though for other reasons, because I do have theories on her backstory. Her home life is kind of messed up. That's probably why he doesn't want to go back.
Fair.
But yeah, I think Marcy at least had the right head. Like I thought maybe she'd be like, "Hey, I'm doing great here. Why not stick around?" But no, we got that out of the way. She knows she has to go back too. We just have to find Sasha and get her head straight. So.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, in that final discussion, like, they talk about, like, neither of them knowing how to get home, and Anne, like, says something along the lines of, like, well, I found you, so, like, I'm not sure what we do now. So, and so, like, that
Were you,
would
like, kiss?
Yeah, that would be ideal, right? But then we cut to this shadowy figure up in the tower. Keith David's voice comes out.
I still have an orgasm from that.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't know who it was. I just knew he had like an air of menace about him, and I got worried.
Alex, did you say the voice actor? Because I totally know his voice.
Yeah, Keith David, Flame Pink from Adventure Time. I'm trying to think of other
Gargoyles.
He's been in so much, but like you always go to him if you need a menacing voice, and here we have him as the king. He's also the president in Rick and Morty. That might resonate with people. But,
how do you know that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I mean, his voice is one of the more recognizable ones in animation. But like, anyways, we have the king here. Let me pull up his name. King Andreas, according to the credits. He has this chessboard. He has a little piece of Marcy. He puts a piece of.
It's so creepy.
He already has an Anne piece, and he's putting it on the board, and he's like, "Let the game begin."
He knew about all this. What does that mean?
Did Marcy have pictures that he like stalked really creepily?
I think that means that Grimes and Sasha's little plan is not going to go well. It's not going to go well. They're not going to win, it looks like.
Right. You never know. They can be sneaky enough.
Yeah, so like on the one hand, we have this king, we have Newtopia, and on the other hand, from Toadcatcher, at the end of that episode sets up that Grime and Sasha are gonna build an army to go against the capital of Newtopia. So so like with those like 5 seconds of like, oh, there's a king now, and oh, spooky, a menacing thing going on. I feel like that's probably where our story is sort of heading. Michelle, I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on where on what's gonna go on in the rest of the season.
I mean, we're gonna have to deal with king shenanigans in Newtopia, it feels like, for the foreseeable future. I'm like honestly shook that he like knows who all three of the girls are, because they're the only ones who should know about each other. I'm wondering maybe like he saw it, because it seems like, so Anne has a Polaroid of the three of them.
Right.
Sasha also pulled out another copy of the same Polaroid, so it makes sense Marcy has one on her as well. Mm-hmm. Maybe the king got it from her. I think the king, like Hop Pop, I'm pretty sure, know that the music box can transport people between worlds, and I feel like he's going to have some kind of political reason for wanting to get those three girls together, because I still think they all need to be together to go home. Because of the 3 gems on the music box. I mean, it just, all the pieces are coming together here, and the king's in on it. And, like, it makes me really wonder, because initially in season 1, I thought that the toads were kind of in charge of the world, and frogs were, like, their peons. But no, I think the newts actually rule on top. Except, like, is the king a toad or a newt or a frog? I don't know.
I can't forget. The
Newts have the fanciest city, so they seem to have the most money and political power in Amphibia.
Yeah.
And I do believe Grime mentions that he's considered a traitor by this government, so it does seem like he kind of like worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of have the same thought too, though. I think in a way, though, the Toads and Sasha are very much similar in terms of they bully people because they're being bullied by other people.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that why Sasha and the Toads are together. Those characters are very similar, so that works right there. I have a feeling though. This, like I said, this king, he's definitely menacing, and I do have a thought of how I think what's going to happen in the season 2 finale. If you want to talk about it now,
briefly. Before I forget, Michelle, you mentioned something about like the king maybe like trying to get all three of them together. I did find interesting that Marcy, when she's talking about this, is like, well, if we can't get Sasha, it's not worth it. So like, I'm curious, does she know about this? Does she know about this plan?
Again, remember how me and Ally were like, maybe Sprig's right. Maybe something's up with Marcy. Maybe Marcy is connected more to the king than she's initially letting on. Mm-hmm. And while she genuinely still likes Anne, maybe there's more at play here. And the king like promised to help send them all back. But in order to do that, she's got to like help him out with getting the three of them together. Like, I feel like that could be a plot that's connected.
But why does he want to get them together? That's the shady part for me.
I think he wants to go to the other world. He wants to conquer that too. He wants power.
Exactly.
Yeah, I should have thought of that, obviously.
No, you don't know him. It's just like that's the MO of any evil king. So that's what
I will
we're going
say. I didn't even know because I didn't look at the credits. I thought the guy talking was just a war general, not the king. So now I'm extra worried.
Oh.
I'm wondering though.
That does change context.
How is he ready to what's that girl's name? Olsen? Forgot her name.
Oh, the you?
Oh, yeah, Olivia. How's she related to her? Is she like her? Is she like his daughter or something? Or
possibly, yeah. Yes. If she's like, if they're not the queen and they're addressed as lady, that means they're the princess or something, right?
Yeah. So I think though, she's probably if after we defeat this king, she might be the one who's going to be in charge once the good guys we win. So perhaps. So I think perhaps I'm hoping she'd be like more like a Prince Wu, and she'd just free everybody and make everything a democracy in a way when this is over.
Okay, already looking ahead to the overthrow.
Well, but that's not my theory. I was talking about what I think is going to happen. I think season 2 finale. I think very simple. And in our heroes, we're going to defeat Grimes and Sasha. Their little coup is going to fail, and the king will reward them by locking them up in jail because he thinks they're too much of a threat, too much power. So he just locked them up so they won't go after him. But I think pretty much everyone will get away except for Grimes and Hop Pop. Those two will be imprisoned, and everyone else will be free. And so no, I'll be the kids. They gotta live their lives without.
Just make Hop Pop and Grimes
like, new bad. This took a turn, Steve.
This is Steve's fanfic corner. Give him room.
I was hoping for a Hop Pop Grimes team up to save everyone else, but I guess that's not happening in Steve's story.
But in a way, though, he'll keep them locked up. In a way, if he had Grimes and Hop Pop locked up, he can control Anne and Sasha to do what he wants. So.
Oh, got their favorite amphibian. I see.
Oh, that's cheating.
Diabolical.
I do want a human trio team up at some point in this show, so that would be fun if we ever get there. Another element to all this, at least in the earlier episodes, I don't think it shows up in like the more recent ones, but we have Ford in the Road. The planters come across this factory. And from the factory comes this robot. And in various episodes after that, we see the robot kind of like following their journey. So, what's the robot's deal? Well, what's going on here? Is this like totally something different?
Well, like, Lapita in what sense? Like,
yeah,
what is it doing?
The fact that it's a robot. That's
okay, that was the extent of it.
I wonder if he's friend or foe. I think he could be an ally.
So the factory is definitely tied to the military/kingdom, right? Yeah. There's no way it's not.
Maybe it's like ancient though. That's what's weird about it. Yeah. It had like the architecture that seemed like ancient, like Mayan or Aztec or something. But it's like very advanced technology at the same time. So like, what does that imply? I remember
is it like magic technology? Does this world have
science? I think it's legit science, which does not mesh with like Amphibia at all. To me, so like, is that a human thing? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. They don't have trashy TV. We saw Suspicion Island, and they didn't know like what TV was. So this is like very strange. But I don't remember. Did Hop Pop seem like he knew what was going on, or like that he had an idea of what it was?
I don't think so. I think they're all kind of confused.
So sus. I'm always on the lookout with him.
He like hides everything. So it's possible he knows, but I don't know.
When they talk about Newtopia, they often refer to it as like the home of ancient wisdom and stuff like that. So like, I wonder, I think that is like setting up a possibility that like this is like old Newtopian technology that at some point they colonized the outside world or use that as their factories. But like, I don't know what this robot's deal is. It's like,
Yeah.
and like also the fact that it's kind of like not appeared in the more recent episodes, it's like they want you to sort of forget about it for a while, so it surprises you when it comes back. But like, that's...
Is it following them? Like, why is it following them? Because if they don't have the music box, what's even like pulling it towards them?
Oh, maybe it's like drawn to Anne because she's a human or something. 'Cause they don't have the they don't have the music box with them. What else could it be?
Also,
it has
them
the
for?
glowing eyes.
Oh, Anne does?
No, I think the robot does.
No, I'm talking. Anne has something like in the first season premiere. Remember, she had
Like when she gets angry, she goes into the Avatar state.
Yeah.
God, I forgot about that.
So that's a good theory though, that like humans, because there were definitely humans in this universe before, because the music box exists and was in our universe, and then this implies that they were there before and they made the technology.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What if I just saw something? What if the king in disguise, he's actually human disguised as a newt?
That would be weird.
Wait, who?
The
robot?
If the king is somehow a human, that's dressed up.
Well, we haven't seen him. Yeah, maybe that's it. Okay, that would actually explain more why he would want to go to the human world than just being an evil king and wanting power. If he's a lost human who could never make it back the first time, and he's a human, so like he was able to control all these amphibians and make his whole society waiting for the chance to return. His scheme of like having all these like girls lined up for his plot makes way more sense to me.
It's so gross.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah,
It's so strange. I never expected it in this show, but I like it.
All of a sudden, I think that's a possibility.
That could totally happen. Oh, that's gross.
Another
Just like
element.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, another element that we have here, Watt's museum, which we'll get more specifically into later, but like the fact that he has this Discman thing and mentions that it came from Newtopia does allude to the fact that they have other human artifacts and like seemingly older stuff. So I think that that's also another thing to consider, that there's possibility that there used to be a more open human portal in the past, and maybe that's how they got stuff before.
Maybe the robots are involved with that, because that technology seems to predate the music box, but I feel like maybe the music box is... So that's what's weird, because the robots are science and the music box seems to be magic, but maybe it actually is like a scientific portal, just in a music box for some unknown reason.
Magic and science are just one and the same.
Yeah,
Maybe that's it, yeah.
I like that. I always love when that happens.
God, if we've already done like She-Ra, and so it's like, are we gonna do another like, magic versus science thing?
And that's also why. It's also the way I feel about Anne and Sasha. That just be a repeat of She-Ra, and
Hey now. Well, actually, kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with Sasha and Grime, we get check in on them in Toadcatcher. Grime's a bit run down. He's he got a beard, watching some Suspicion Island, and Sasha's the one to reinvigorate him over the course, while Grime also like digs into her psychology. This is our only Sasha check-in. Ali, how are you feeling about about all that?
Dynamic so much. It's just so good. I really Steve was talking about how that they're the same as like Azula and Zuko, but I like that the fact that they kind of share a similar trauma with their like need to be at the top of a hierarchy and need for like attention. And I appreciated Grime being in like a state of depression, just drinking soda, watching bad television. Like that's the state we're all in right now because we're all locked in. No, go ahead.
Oh, and I give him credit the fact that in that state he was still able to be sort of a psychiatrist for Sasha. So,
I know, right? How is he so aware? Maybe that's just how it is. Like, you can't deal with your own stuff, but you can be very aware of somebody else's stuff.
Well,
And
I'm
look,
pretty sure.
he's a good friend to Sasha.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they're
he
like
is,
best friends at the end of it. It's so cute.
And I'm pretty sure though the fact Sasha's so attached to Grimes that Grimes is probably the best father figure she has had her entire life. So
that would be
that's a little
really
hint
sad.
of Sasha's. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm pretty sure Sasha's home life is very dark, and that's why she probably may not want to go back. So
Sadness.
in my head, I think.
I understand where she's coming from because, like, when you do see Sasha and Anne together in the flashback, what really ticks her off is when Anne says she wants to go spend time with her family for her birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
So if Sasha's like, you know, kind of triggered by positive, healthy family dynamics, she doesn't have that. I do think, like, even if Grimes isn't like a straight up father figure, he's at least a positive older mentor, which again is something she could really be needing in her life right now. And she happened to find it in Amphibia, and she want to keep it up.
I kind of wonder though. Also, now Grimes have any family in his life? His backstory, did he lose family in his like younger days?
Grime was definitely not hugged as a child. You can just tell.
That's
very
what
sad.
they should Grime. I mean,
I imagine him being like a general as like a little baby. He's like,
yeah, like he had a military dad who
she like found for me, even though he's a baby.
And can I also get more detail I was talking about before about Sasha, like and the Toads, how they connect in terms of their bullies who've been bullied. I think the reason like Sasha probably maybe like bullies people in their like in adolescent life is because probably she's bullied by like her parental figures and whatever. And I feel the same thing is with Grimes in the Toads with the Newtopians on bullying the frogs pretty much because they're just taking out their vent anger of being pushed around by these lizards on the frogs.
I think that also like not that it isn't that simple, but it definitely also ties into the fact like that they weren't getting as much attention or like something that they needed when they were growing up, and that's like this is the only way they know how to interact with people is to get them to fear you, to like you, like because it's a good tactic. I mean, it's not good, but it's a tactic that works.
It's effective, yeah.
If they really wanted to push Sasha really in a direction of just fit out rage, because the one thing they got to do is probably might have to kill off Grimes. Can you imagine what she would do?
Yes, you said it.
Yeah, because they do kill him.
Well, we don't have to kill him off, but at least let her think he's killed off. At the very least, just gain that little anger, so she might just go insane.
Well, I do want to ask, like, in terms of like where Sasha's headspace is at right now with Anne, because like at the beginning of the episode is like her like exercising her anger at them, like kicking around their wooden effigies. Grime lets it out as like, no, you're upset that you lost your friend and that you'll never like get her back or whatever. And then like at the end, she like looks off into the distance and it's like, it's not over between us, not even close. So it's like, I'm curious what you guys feel in terms of like, is it already like a lost cause? Is there still like a hope of friendship there? Like, well, where are we at with like?
You can't ask us this
Alex,
after
how can you ask that? Like, of course, I mean, like again, when she's like fighting all the mannequins, she hesitates with Anne's before taking it out. There's obviously a lot of it's complicated. Like Anne's never canonically stood up to her before in their entire life, and they were childhood friends. That's gonna hurt on a really personal level, but also. Like, yeah, I agree with Allie. Like, maybe Sasha really doesn't know how to not have dynamics with people that doesn't involve her controlling them. So, like, she really doesn't know how to approach this now. I feel like if this is going to be her Zuko alone season, where she's kind of on
that's the Azula side of her, actually.
She's going to have to do some soul searching before she can find Anne again. And by then, maybe they could reconcile. But, like, she's definitely not there yet. It's a possibility, though.
And if I correct, the exact words were, your relationship will never be the same. So it can still be reconciling, but you still have to accept that it's never going to. Yeah, it's going to be different. It'll be better.
Yeah, guys, Catradora happened. Anything is possible. Like I'm telling you.
Anything is possible.
And like I said, And this part of Sasha's character, that's the Azula half. Like I said, the sort of someone who just pushes people around, controls them, and now has to deal with the fact that someone actually stood up to her, and she's got to deal with it. That's pretty much Azula's character arc. So, well, the Zuko character arc is more of projection.
So, in this episode, also, one of you mentioned General Yunnan in the opening. I think it was Michelle. We have this is probably one of the more standout new characters this season. She got really crazy poses. Needs to repeat herself very often. Just has a very interesting character design. That pointy hair is really something.
I'm pretty sure she's a Dragon Ball character.
What? That's not what I thought. I was just going to be like, yeah, she's a dude.
Yeah. Dragon Ball is happening too much this year. I'm not a fan of it.
I feel like I've also seen comparisons of the poses to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
No.
I'm kind of wondering, has she and Marcy met, cross paths, since she's part of the Newtopia?
Maybe. She's from Newtopia, so it's possible.
And I wonder, are we going to bump into her? Is she going to go into the capital with Anne and everyone with the planters? You're just going to interact in the future?
What if?
Oh, she might say they bested me, but I'll get them, and then that'll make the planter family and Anne aware that Sasha and Grimes are out there doing stuff, even if they don't meet them for a while. I could see that.
Oh wait, man! I just realized too that when she met Sasha, she was not really shocked or anything by this creature, this human being there. So the key might have let everyone in about the human characters in the world.
Well, also, if she's from Newtopia, she must have met Marcy, and maybe they're trained together. Maybe they're rivals, or maybe they're best friends, like Anne and Sprig are. And I wouldn't know how to feel about that.
I think Yunnan and Marcy would totally be into each other. They both got similar high energy, wanting to fight and stuff.
Wait, oh my God, they played D&D together, definitely, because her whole monologue.
Oh, Marcy would be so hyped to teach her, and General Yunnan would be so aggressively into it. Yes, I will win this game.
God, what? Going about her monologue is okay, you're definitely I don't know, a barbarian or something.
Oh my gosh, yes. She's role-playing in her real life. That's the dream, right?
Well, she keeps saying she's defeater of Ragnar the Wretched. What if that's just something that she beat in D&D?
Maybe.
Oh my God, that'd be so amazing. She's actually a big nerd, and she doesn't know how to fight good at all.
Love it.
And she is very young for her rank, so who knows how the other people treat her. So,
but they do have good fight scene. We get some they use a little bit of their extra animation for a fight between Sasha and Yunnan. You got kind of spinning around them while they're swinging swords. There's also a good line when her eyes really bulge out. It's I had an army once, they slowed me down. And that line does a lot for a character. So I appreciated that detail there.
Wait a minute, I just thought, how about Lunyan and the Lady Olsen? I kind of want to ship them, maybe.
Okay, that
Lady Olivia?
Olivia. I keep forgetting. It starts with O.
Oh, no, totally. It's a knight in shining armor, delicate, rich lady.
Wait, you guys are into this? Okay, fine.
But it's canonical this time. It's not the fans misinterpreting it for once. I would love that.
Okay. Every Steve podcast, there's some crack ship that develops.
That's that's a real ship, though. They both
They haven't interacted yet.
I support this crack ship.
It's not an interspecies relationship, at least, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Yeah. So that's around. Let's jump. So we referenced this episode, Wax Museum. I think we need to talk about that. I will say I have never watched Gravity Falls. It was still a funny episode to me, but I recognize the references. They don't do much for me. Of you guys, have all of you watched the Gravity Falls? Or
yes.
Yes.
I think it's
okay. So please illuminate me on as a Gravity Falls fan, or at least a watcher, how this episode went for you guys.
Cringy.
Right.
Cringy? Okay, interesting.
It was funny.
All right.
Yeah.
But I was not a fan in general. I mean, it felt very pandering to fan service-y, you know.
And it's not the same seeing Grunkle Stan, just no family, pretty much. Just
Yeah, I was
it's
waiting for the
reverse
twins to pop
Grunkle
out.
Stan. Like a greedy, like I'll straight up wax you as you're alive, Grunkle Stan. Which is like
Also,
way worse.
where was Wendy for Sprig to crush on? I was waiting for her to pop out.
God, Frick is taking Allie.
He
Don't
is.
do
Oh, he is. I'm
that.
sorry.
yeah, and I could say pretty much. I could put. I really think this show, Amphibia and Owl House, they're part of this Gravity Falls universe. I think maybe one day Disney Channel might do this massive 3-way crossover. I'm waiting for that.
We got a frog Soos, which is just Soos as a
Straight
frog,
up
I suppose.
That was the best part, honestly, because he broke
That
the
was-
fourth wall.
I do like the Fromes a lot. I was just like, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
dumbest
correct.
thing I ever heard. I love it.
I love how
Mr. Grime.
one Shrebulok is good.
Shut up, Frog Zeus.
That impression was actually good, Steve.
Wow.
I like the
Shots fired.
"Have you been licking yourself again?" line.
Yes,
It's
I like that one.
That was very good. Yes.
that part was the best, I think. Otherwise, I was just cringing the whole time. I was like, "Please stop! This is just making me want to watch Scrappy Falls."
I also kind of enjoyed when he's getting pulled into the closet and like red stuff is coming out. It's
Yeah.
like, calm down, everyone. It's just wax like that. That's
Just
a
wax.
that's a
and then
very
later-
irreverent Alex Hirsch style joke. So
And then later, though, they said he's dead. Like, he's dead.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, not that
They did
curator.
say that.
He's
Like,
dead.
so, like, what was that about?
are you
yeah,
sure?
I think Hot Pop is jumping the gun personally.
Yeah.
That was
Oh.
so funny.
I hope he's alive.
The important thing is we made it out, except for that curator. He's dead.
I find funny though the fact that that's Bill Thorne. That's Goofy saying lines like that. It just makes me crack up.
I don't want to know that. I hate knowing that because then
So
I'm
do
like,
I.
I want Hufflepuff to be this pure, just like crazy frog guy. I don't
And
want
he
like to think
is.
about other characters.
He's gonna have a moment where he goes, "Ooh," falling off a cliff.
I'm sorry, but there are times when I hear the Goofy's voice in him, like just certain lines he says that just sounds like him for some
The
reason.
same accent, so it makes sense, and
Yeah.
it's very
It's just like
conflicting.
Southern versus normal Goofy, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's hear other like notable new characters. Yeah. So we Crumpet. We've already talked about him. I want to say
Renee, you got
Who's Renee? I don't even remember.
that's the theater lady.
yeah. My friend
Oh,
Kermit loved her, so I'm just saying
Wait,
a crush
who?
on her.
Hold on. I
Um,
have-
oh wow!
That episode
Crush on
where the episode where Hop Pop is wanting to be in a play,
Oh!
and it's the
Yeah.
frog that's got like a beret and glasses, you know.
And I'm hoping though in the big finale that she might come back, maybe be like an ally, help us and
She's
against
in
whoever.
jail now.
I don't know. Maybe she can be useful. Like,
I kind of understand her plight, though, honestly, because it's all about like, well, like nobody supports the arts anymore. We gotta pay our
Yeah.
bills somehow. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, like maybe schools should stop cutting funding for art programs and only funding science and math.
That's
we'll
the
have to
tea.
steal the money otherwise. Like, I get where she's coming from there.
Same. I love that they got Susan Egan to play her too, because that's just perfection.
Mhm.
The fact
Also,
that
that
she and Hop Up, it's like the arts don't get supported, farmers are really
I'm
underappreciated.
And I'm sorry, I love Lunar, what's her name, but the fact that she was introduced a week after Renee sort of took some of that impact off. I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, she had a tough act to follow.
Wait, I'm like, I don't remember these names.
You know, the
Yeah,
general.
Please name that thin air, Steve. It's impressive.
The general, like the
Yunnan.
Oh my god, I'm
Yunnan,
sorry.
yeah.
Man, I feel so bad not being able to say her name for real. She's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, I feel bad not remembering any of my favorite characters. Period.
General Yunnan,
General
the Scourge
Yunnan.
of the Sand Wars, defeated Ragnar.
Isn't Ragnar an actual like god in Greek mythology or something?
Probably it does sound like Nordic.
No, not
kind of
Greek,
like
sorry,
Thor,
Norse mythology.
right? Like
Yeah.
Ragnarok.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably the right one.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've heard that in other fiction too, so it must be
Ragnar.
real.
I do want to mention the Caravan Named Desire, very anti-feeder kids. We're
Yeah,
really
that-
taking a pot
That one
shot
got
at
hurt.
the
I
theater.
was triggered.
Someone who wrote that was hurt by the cool theater kids in their school. And my school theater kids were not cool, so I could understand it, but not personally.
Yeah, in my school, all the theater kids got like 240 on their SATs, so they were cool.
Dang.
They were all the smart kids who took like AP Calc and did football, and I was like that age. I know.
Theater and talks and smart. How is that allowed, Allie, to have those three things?
We will talk about it on the Owl House podcast because it's allowed.
Okay.
Yeah. So just like other like stuff, Hop Pop, you know, he's our fave, and he's had a bunch of moments in this season. Michelle, as foremost Hop Pop stan on this podcast, I believe, do you have any highlights that you want to pull out for him?
Please.
Well, the he's dead line that Allie did was like so popular. Just nonchalantly with Anne is like, so do you have a boyfriend back home? I just like, Pop, what are you doing? Like, why are you introducing this to us? This is so awkward.
I love that he can't stand the silence. It's very relatable.
I know. He can't do anything but that.
Oh, and I also found how weird nature in that episode that Anne and Pop-Pop, they were like the parental figures to Sprig and Polly. I kind of find that interesting how sometimes Anne is like, instead of being the older sibling, she's just the parent.
Well, it's also a very older sibling thing to be like, the younger siblings can't stop being annoying.
Listen, as the younger sibling, we are very annoying.
As the younger sibling, I can concur that.
As an only child, I really don't know.
Wow, am I the only older sibling here? Interesting.
Alex, you're outnumbered.
I'm so sorry, Alex.
Hop Pop and Marcy, you know, like being just very gushy about anybody recognizing his plight as a farmer.
It was too precious.
Would you like to be adopted? Like, it's so good. Hop Pop is his prime form in that episode. Just like, you like vegetables and you care about farmers' rights. Like, please be my second human daughter.
Yeah, he's like, where are the adoption papers? Can I sign? I really love that Marcy is just very interested in the world, and she does all her research, and she's just perfect.
Yeah, like that's
she knows her stuff.
She's physically clumsy, but she makes up for it in like really, really high intelligence.
Yeah.
So
can't relate, but would want to.
And she's exactly reminds me of her personality. She reminds me of Professor Zeg from Avatar: Last Airbender. Just how he's interested in every little thing.
The bossing safety. Like their benefit. Yes. She's like regularly experimenting to make like potions and stuff to use, like because she doesn't have.
Again, the Entrapta.
She doesn't have Anne's raw strength and like athleticism, so she uses like experiments to kind of like be of use on a battlefield, which is like very different approach, but equally effective, I would say. And I love that like she can be completely useful, but in a completely different skill set than Anne and Sasha. I think that's really cool.
She's no, Alchemist isn't a D&D class, but one of those things.
I'm pretty sure something's wrong with her
potions
cape.
Master, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure something wrong with her cape. It's got to be flammable. There's something up why she keeps going on fire.
It's got to be
flammable. I'm sure she'll figure it out. We have Sprig and Polly. You know, they're along for the ride. I'll at least say that like I feel like they're because of the fact that the story is getting bigger. I got the sense at least that they're being kind of sidelined a little bit, but like I don't know about you guys.
Interesting.
The fillery-est episode of the bunch, I think.
I was thinking the same thing, though more so Sprig than Polly, but maybe because I'm more used to like Polly sort of being on the sideline. So
yeah, I mean, I think Polly has the least focus. Like she's had her own episode, which was nice, but I feel like Sprig, it feels like much more of a downset for Sprig just because he was so central to Anne in the first season, but now Anne's she's meeting her old friends. So, like, I get it, but I feel like he's not going to go away. Like, the fact that we spent a lot of time with him being suspicious of Marcy, and she, like, did have to win him over to get his respect, like, proves that, like, his opinion still matters, and he still has a place here in the plot.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the season 2 finale, Polly gets her legs.
Well, yeah, it was confirmed she'll get him really soon.
So excited for Polly to, like, ditch that bucket for real, you guys.
So then she can be even more annoying everywhere.
Yes, with buff legs.
I did find it interesting that we stuck with the suspicious angle for Sprig and not really getting into like jealousy or anything like that, because I feel like that's going to be something at some point. Like as Anne like gets closer to her human friends, Sprig is going to feel
at least ones that don't try to kill her. So.
Yeah. So, any other amphibious, like particular amphibia topics that you guys want to get into before we begin wrapping up here? Michelle, anything that we haven't touched on yet?
I mean, I feel like we covered all the major things. Like, honestly, I am really curious about the plot. I like didn't really care about the plot last season, so I feel like that's like definitely a change for me. I want more Hop Pop. Like, he's already had quite a few episodes, which is great. I don't know, maybe more Bessie focused. I was shook that, okay, this is like a personal thing, but like at the end of Marcy at the Gates, when Anna's showing Marcy like through her phone picture, she's like, here's Domino 2. I was like, oh my god, the great Domino 2 callback of season 2. I am so happy.
Yeah,
if we could see more Domino 2s, like that's on my wish list, but like we don't need to. I would just love that.
I think we need to.
We gotta find an outlet. There's gotta be like a herd of them somewhere.
Yeah, and then they're all gonna get captured and probably almost eaten.
They'll do the eating once they change their form into butterflies or whatever.
Ali, any final amphibia thoughts you want to get in here?
I did touch on this at the beginning of the pod. I really am, again, pleasantly surprised with just Disney in general, but with this show, how they're building the world and like how different communities interact with each other or kind of influence each other, obviously, because, you know, that's how the world works. Like we have the farmers, like middle, lower class, then we have the military. And I'm very, very excited to see how they're going to kind of bring everything together for better or worse, probably worse, just for everybody involved. I'm a big fan of like real world issues in animated shows, even if they're different, like you can still relate to them. But like Michelle said, I'm kind of curious where this season is going because I can't really tell. But with the King, now that I know it's the King, it's not gonna be good, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
it's gonna keep being sketchy.
Yes,
we've definitely got a lot of elements here. Some of them not sure how they're connected yet, and I'm excited to see how those dots get put together at some point. Steve, any final thoughts here?
Well, besides like more references to 90s stuff, I mean, that tugs on my heart. The whole
how did you feel about nobody knowing what a disc was?
That's all right. I haven't used disc in a long time. The thing about Skipman, I don't remember like portable CD players having the like Skipman thing, but maybe it was. But it does sort of make sense. Skipman means you can skip tracks, which is something you couldn't do in the old record player, really.
Well,
so
I believe it's a play on Discman because Discman was a popular brand.
Okay, that was a real thing. Okay, now it makes sense.
Was that the 90s or was that the early 2000s though? Because it makes me think of like 2002 or something.
Early 2000s, 90s are the same thing to this generation. So
they are.
They're not though. 90s is about cassette tapes. We know the difference.
According to Wikipedia, the first one was in 1984, and in 1997 they changed the name to Discman. Okay.
What else?
The 2000s.
I'm also interested to see what happened when the three girls do like get together. Like I said, I think they like. Are they like sort of like the three of them have going to unleash some super like power, like some like mega like laser thing? I don't know what the King wants them for, but it's interesting to see. I kind of want to see the idea though of seeing the all the three species actually put aside their little prejudices against each other and work together. So, and maybe if the series lasts long enough, I could definitely picture a Earth like season, or at least half a season, in which the planters are on Earth and they have to get back. So, but that's if the series lasts too long. So we'll see. I mean, maybe it ends at the right time and that won't happen.
I would love to see Hop Pop interacting with human technology. That That's like what dreams are made of.
He's like,
That's
I don't
so-
feel safe.
Human
Yeah, I
technology.
feel safe every second.
Human technology, yes. I don't want them to go to Earth because I don't really want to have in my head the thought of what their size actually is.
Well,
Like,
how
Oh my
about-
god!
how about at least
So now that you say that,
Well, no, we know
How
what
about
that
it- how
size
about-
is in proportion to humans because Anne exists. I'm just
How
worried,
about-
like, what if they get to France? Because
How-
you know what happens
How
there.
about the dream episode? How about at least each episode when Anne dreams that the planters are in human form, and let's see what they would look like.
Oh God,
I mean,
that's
well,
kind of horrifying
I
to
will-
think about.
Like, hey, like, also, like, what if, like, the humans shrunk on their way to Amphibia? Like, what if like, these are, like,
Oh.
normal frog size and these are tiny humans?
Oh, I like that.
that would explain why the bugs are so big.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I love it.
Yeah, so, okay, maybe I'm in favor of this after all. At least in, like, an AU episode.
Yeah, just one. Just give us one episode.
So yeah, that will conclude our Amphibia discussion for now. Up to this point, I believe we still have we're scheduled through like 5 weeks of or 4 weeks
Four.
of more Amphibia episodes. It's lots of Newtopia focused stuff. We got a Lost in Newtopia. There's one called A Day at the Aquarium, which I'm aware that like aquarium dates are like a shipping trope
Yes.
thing. So like,
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah,
because you get to
um,
like look at the fish and nobody's around, and then you kiss who.
Are you for real? Like she's
Yeah.
not
Been on a date?
see bloom into you.
Yes.
But anyway,
Very
so
much.
I'm just holding out hopes for something to happen there. But
Wait. Who though?
hmm,
Mm.
Do I want to
Yeah.
know?
Wait a minute. What if the
Marcy Ann is the top of the poll.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll accept Anne and some new female character. Sprig Ann is at the very bottom, but like
Really?
still,
Who should that?
would be,
Oh my
that'd be
god.
something.
Dylan would be so excited for Spram.
Right,
I know.
like,
That's why.
what
I'm
about-
like,
I'm not
and,
personally supporting it, but I'll be
and
happy
Olivia.
for the people who ship it.
I mean, not even Sprig supports Spran, so what are you gonna do about that? You know?
Yeah.
It's like it's so dead.
oh man.
What about Sprig and that snobby actor guy?
Oh
Actor kid,
God.
he's trying to impress. He was trying to impress him so badly.
Sprig is above that nonsense, Steve.
What's
You
his
can do
girlfriend's
better.
name? He is taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like two of them. There's
Yeah,
one he has a crush
awesome.
on, and then there's his fiance. So like,
Yeah, well, when are we getting the Ivy comeback? Yeah, that's
Yes.
She could kick so much butt in Newtopia.
I know.
They should have brought her.
They really should have.
one with the hot pod seemed to have a romantic thing with a grandma, and Sprig had something like a crush
Oh, yeah.
on the granddaughter. That just discomforting for me.
Just expanding the family, Steve. That's what it is. They all
Arranged
one
marriages.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot Anne's amazing hunter dance.
Talk
It's
about
so
the dance.
amazing. It just the shots and just like the weird hallucination of Sprig as the floating head of encouragement. It was just like so trippy, and I loved it.
You make a good point about the animation with that scene, though. It was
Yeah.
good in theme. No, not in theme. Tied. Oh my god, with the music.
Also, go Sprig like singing some rock song, and then ends is like, "Shut up!" It's like, "Okay."
They have a lot of songs in these past few episodes. Wasn't there one in the maybe not the Polly episode, but there was one in something else?
Yeah, I think they've let Sprig be more musical. But
But I'm more excited to see more of Olivia. She seems sort of more kind of a little bit of a snob. She
We
seems
know
kind of
literally
like
nothing about her.
I know, but
we've
she's kind of
got 60 seconds of her.
That's
But
why it's
yes,
great, Allie. If you know nothing about a character, they can
It's
be
true.
anything you want.
It's
yeah,
true.
You can.
What if
insert
she's
so-
the feudal lord and not the
She's the
handmaiden?
real king. She's puppeteering the king behind
Oh
them.
wow, actually, yeah,
What a
that's
great
correct.
persona that would be.
Yeah.
If this podcast is any indication, you can fit so many headcanons into this bad boy. So let's just keep them rolling.
Suddenly, I'm intrigued.
So on that note, we will wrap up here. Thanks for listening. You can find out more about us at overlyanimated.com. You can find us on Discord if you want to chat with us about Amphibia or any other show we cover at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You'll find a lot of Marcy screenshots from this morning from the freak out. So join if you want to live reactions to these episodes. So you can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Sam. Thanks to our Patreon executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Beatrice, Hugh, Michael, Needle, and Phonician. Besides Amphibia, as mentioned, we are covering the other big Disney show right now, Owl House. What other shows are around? Owl House is so big in my mind, I can't
Glitch
think.
Checks is coming back soon.
America's
Glitch Checks is coming
Ladybug?
up. Yeah, Ladybug is around.
Infinity Train, you're in the middle of that, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in the middle of Infinity Train.
God, this week is kind of like a mess and a half.
He's a
I know.
hot mess.
I'm a mess. Yeah, like I can't.
Alex, we're all a mess. It's not just you. Don't worry.
We're on
Yeah,
this burning ship together.
Yeah, so we are covering a wide variety of shows here, and we'll be back at some point to talk Amphibia again if the next major event that happens. We're excited wherever Amphibia goes.
Or a hiatus.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in these next coming weeks. But until then, we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.